Hey, I'm Blake. I want to talk about my biggest pet peeve right now in online writing, in AI assisted writing. No, it is not the M dash. It is something people are calling negation. And if you've spent any time on social posts, blog posts, emails, you've probably encountered negation a lot. And if it's like me, it's daily. It's something that drives me crazy and it's really exploded over the last year. So let's dive into it and talk about it. So what negation is, very simply, is it's not X, it's Y, where the second part negates the first part. And this can be within a sentence or it can be multiple sentences, which we'll show examples. So an example is we're not just building a product, we're creating an experience. And credit card fraud isn't just evolving, it's accelerating. And we're not going to get into this right now, but notice the M dash there, separating the two ideas. It's a legit linguistic technique. And I asked Claude what it was, and it said it was a contrastive structure. ChatGPT called it a contrastive reframe. I'm not going to get into all the little details, but no, like it's legit. But here's the problem, and I want to get into this right away. And this is a little training if you're still new to the negation. I literally found this. I wanted examples for this video, and I found these in 5 minutes. It was insane. I was really blown away when I actually tried to look for it, how many I found. So I went to LinkedIn and just started scrolling and reading posts. And here's some examples, again, with another dash here. They're not just using AI, they're using it strategically. And here's two sentences with it's a little bit more creative. The magic isn't just in the AI model, it's in how all the parts are orchestrated behind the scenes smoothly, act securely, and fast. Here's a two sentence. Your reputation isn't built on your intentions or occasional actions. It's created by consistent patterns others observe over time. All right, it's two sentences there. And then I found a post where it was a listicle type post. And on the seventh one, there was negation. AI isn't just a plugin, it's infrastructure. Here's what's interesting about this one. It was back-to-back negation. Kind of wild. The best teams understand it's fundamental, not incremental. So it was back-to-back negation. And then I went to X because I was just curious where I'd see it, and I did see it. But what I wanted to highlight was a visual example because it's in copy as well. And it's an Atlas didn't shrug, he drilled. And what I imagine this writer did is went to ChatGPT, and this was just like a mock-up of something creative here to create as a copy. Probably asked it for a bunch of ideas. Negation was at least one of them. They selected this idea. Atlas didn't shrug, he drilled. It was a negation-based copy. So you can see it's not just sentences, but we're seeing it in advertising as well. I actually, as I was doing this, I found this research. I found a blog that piqued my interest. It was about how this person's personal blog, where their perspective was that companies should be comfortable with AI, and if it's good writing, it's good writing, and I agree. However, when I went to the blog, it was good in the beginning, and the first half was fine. The second half was more actionable information, clearly written by AI, probably ChatGPT, because I will say it seems that ChatGPT enjoys the negation technique more than Claude. You can say AI doesn't eliminate labor, it redistributes it. We have the colon instead of the M dash. Another colon with this. This isn't just a retreat from technology, it's an evolution enabled by it. And well, then we have the M dash again. Not performative updates, but real transparency that restores confidence in both the process and the person. Now, I found these three in 250 words. Crazy, like way too much, right? This needs to be edited out ideally. And then as I was working on this, just Duolingo yesterday came out with a post on several places on the internet. This one was from LinkedIn, where it was saying it was moving to an AI first company. In particular, and I thought this was interesting, it called out content and that it was using automation for content. I can tell because two instances, and it's somewhat of not a press release, but more of an update on LinkedIn. It said, AI isn't just a productivity boost, it helps us get closer to our mission, whatever that means. A little too vague, and we'll get into the issue with negation as we're seeing. And then a couple paragraphs later, it said, this isn't just about replacing duos with AI, it's about removing bottlenecks so we can do more with the outstanding duos we already have. Okay. One of the issues, and we saw it throughout, is negation is vapid. It doesn't have a lot of substance behind it. The main problem that I want to talk about, and I think I'm a little bit ahead of the curve, and if you're watching this video, you may be a little ahead of the curve, is that in 6 to 12 months, people will be very sensitive to negation because, like I showed you, it's everywhere. And I do not think we were writing like this. I do not think we had this in our newsletter. I see it in newsletters too, because I'm subscribed to some newsletters. They're obviously using AI assisted writing. But our emails, our newsletters, our blogs, and I'm seeing it in a lot of blogs because I think automation was very exciting for some companies and they pushed it out in the last 6 to 12 months. And there's a lot of low quality blogs that didn't have this edited out. So it's all over the place. And people are going to be more and more sensitive to it. And this is a microcosm, and we're going to make more videos on these types of AI favored writings. It's a microcosm because there's a lot of other AI favored writing techniques, and this is one of them. And we're going to sour on them. We're going to be like, oh, this is something I see every day, multiple times a day, or maybe multiple times a week, and we're not going to like it. We're going to be against it. And it's already out there. Like, people aren't going to be going back and probably editing their blogs. So why, really quickly, and I think this is really fascinating just from if you're a writer creating any kind of content, like, why is it doing it and why don't we like it? And I asked Claude, and I thought, and there were several reasons, but one just statement stood out to me. And Claude said, negation adds depth to statements, making content sound more sophisticated, right? And isn't that word sophisticated? Isn't that the issue with AI, is that it doesn't have the personal experience, it doesn't have the emotions, so it's using things to sound more sophisticated. In B2B specifically, it says it elevates the product from a simple utility to a strategic solution. And it shifts the focus from features to benefits or outcomes. Isn't that kind of the gist of it, right? It's taking it from what it is to being more sophisticated, a little more salesy. You know? An example is, we're not just building a product, we're creating an experience, right? And it's often not very specific, and in its worst use, negation is very general, right? It's not getting us anywhere. So I want to stop here and just say that I'm not saying you shouldn't use negation. And what I am saying is that you need to use it tastefully. And that's the word, right? With AI, with any writing and with any AI, is that we need to use it tastefully. You see, I wrote this and I noticed afterward there was a little negation. So I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, but we need to use it tastefully. And this is what, if I'm just going to talk about this for 30 seconds, this is what AI is how it's going to elevate our writing. If we saw what AI could do 5 years ago now, we're blown away, right? It's really good. But now that we're seeing it over and over again, we're seeing what that consensus middle, when we prompt, we're getting the middle. I'll make another video on this, but that consensus middle is the middle of the average of the results of the prompt. That output is just the consensus of what it is. There's certain writing techniques that we're starting to just not like. I know I'm souring on it. So we have to use it tastefully. So, and I'll talk about what I think that is tastefully here with the solutions. So for me, I'm so unfavorable with it that I actually prompted out. And I prompted out with working with AI for AI assisted writing. One note here, though, is that with ChatGPT, their project instructions, with Claude, their knowledge, it is not often, if you add it to those instructions, it'll still output it. And so what I do is I've added to a content review checklist. Now I've memorized it and I pick it up so fast because it's so agitating. But it's something to add, I think, in your content review checklist to at least review it. All right. It doesn't mean you have to get it out of the content completely, but if it's vapid, if it doesn't bring value, then I think you should consider removing it. So a couple strategies here to wrap up to use negation more, better, more effectively, is you want it to be specific. You don't want it to keep it general. And an example with Duolingo is, again, this example, AI isn't just a productivity boost. It helps helps us get closer to our mission. Instead of just saying productivity boost, be specific of what kind of productivity boost. What did it do? Did it save 20% of time? Are you able to output more creatively? Say what it's doing specifically. And then you could even be mission. That's very vague. And I think instead of and afterward, maybe you even like follow up on this, but I think part of this taste is AI is elevating our writing where we just get to it. Just tell us what we need to know. We don't need this vague general information. Just get to it, right? So be more specific. And the other part in that specificity, make it personal. And this is a general recommendation for all AI. People are saying they want SME information. They're interviewing SMEs. They're turning that into content more often than in the previous because we want the personal experience from the SME. Add that as your specificity. Get it where it's your personal experience. And I know Duolingo here is a company, but make it personal if it's more general like this to the company and get it specific to them. So I want to hear from you though. Are you experiencing negation like I am? Is it agitating you? How are you dealing with it as a writer, as a content creator? What are you doing? How is it affecting your day-to-day work? I want to hear from you.